Hello learners, welcome to my channel Shraddha's Physics. Today we will start core 9 part, that is elements of modern physics. In the first unit we will see the atomic spectra and models. In this part we will see what we have learned from the classical physics, and finally we will see the inadequacy of the classical physics. So, towards the end of the 19th century, the classical physics, it has attained near perfection and it had tremendous success both on theoretical as well as the experimental fronts. So, almost all the known physical phenomena, it ranging from the dynamics of the point particles, that is rigid body, point particles, rigid body, deformable bodies and fluids, the dynamics of the celestial bodies, thermodynamics, geometrical optics, wave optics, electromagnetism and many more things, it can be described within this classical mechanics. If you can remember, we have learned the Newtonian mechanics, the laws of thermodynamics, Fresnel's wave theory of light, Maxwell's theory of electromagnetism. These are the actually called the backbone of the classical physics. Now we will see the fundamental ingredients of the classical physics, that is we can say that the success of the classical physics, the first is it is deterministic in nature. It means that for the first of all I will say this classical physics, it is deterministic in nature. It means that the behavior of the system, it can be exactly predicted. So, for example, if I will say if the forces acting on a body are known, if you know the force that is acting on the body, then by using the Newton's law of motion, you can say the path or the trajectory exactly. So, at any instant of time you can determine the position, velocity, momentum, energy and etc. It can be determined precisely. That is why it is called the classical physics is deterministic in nature. And the next point we can say, that is the various physical quantities and their changes in classical physics, it can have any continuous value without restriction. Okay. So, if I will give an example, here I am saying that the physical quantities have continuous values without any restriction. So, for example, if I will consider suppose the energy or the angular momentum of the particle, it can have any value depending on its state of motion, or I can say that the state of motion or the configuration of the system. Similarly, their value, it can be increased or decreased by any desired amount by suitably controlling the motion of the particle. Okay. And the next is, we can say that the particles and the waves in classical physics, they are regarded as they are distinct and they are separate entities without any ambiguity. Okay. So, for example, I can say the electromagnetic waves, water waves, sound waves, these are the characterized by their frequency. These are the waves. So, we can define it in terms of their frequencies, wavelength, phase, amplitude. So, they exhibit the phenomena like the interference, diffraction, superposition and etc. Similarly, on the other hand, I can say the particles are localized in space and they are characterized by their position or the trajectory, or if I will define momentum, mass, electric charge etc. So, these are defined because of the particle nature. So, here in classical physics, the waves and the particles, they have separate attributes by which they can unambiguously distinguish from each other. So, we can distinguish between the particles and waves. If I can write, suppose I am writing the particle, so you can define the particle, this is suppose particle and this is for your suppose wave nature. So, for particle nature, it can be characterized by its position. So, its position, momentum, mass, charge etc., electric charge etc. And similarly, to define the wave nature, the phenomena like the interference, diffraction, superposition etc. So, we can define it. because of the wave nature. But these concepts however were drastically changed and the new revolutionary ideas were brought in. Because this classical physics, in spite of its numerous success, and it was inadequate to account for many theoretical and experimental observations that is made during the late 19th century. So that the inadequacy of the classical mechanics, that is, it failed to explain, it does not hold the region of the atomic dimension, that is, it cannot explain the non-relativistic motion of the atoms, electrons, protons, etc. That is, it could not explain the stability of the atoms, it could not explain the origin of the discrete spectra of the atoms, since according to the classical mechanics the energy changes are always continuous, that is the failure of the classical mechanics we can say. Similarly, it could not explain the blackbody radiation, the photoelectric effect, Compton effect, the specific heat capacity of the solid, and the structure of the atom. So, we can say that what we have concluded is that the classical physics accumulated from the study of the energy distribution, that is the failure of the classical physics is in case of the blackbody radiation, that is first is the blackbody radiation, it cannot explain the blackbody radiation. Then the Compton effect we will see in detail, and the Compton effect we will see in detail what is Compton effect, what is blackbody radiation, and the photoelectric effect, this is the most important, the photoelectric effect, atomic spectra, and what? Atomic spectra, the structure of the atom, and we can say that the energy distribution, that is the discrete form of the energy level, the discrete energy levels, So, these are the inadequacy of the classical physics, or we can say that the failure of the classical physics, that is blackbody radiation, Compton effect, photoelectric effect, atomic spectra, structure of the atom, the discrete energy levels. So, this is all for today. Thank you everyone.